Hey everyone, Tankenstein here. In this video, I'll go over everything that you need to know about crafting events in War Thunder. I'll go over what they are, how they work, how to craft items, how to get the vehicles that you want, and more. Now, though I am recording this video as of the April 2021 crafting event, this guide should apply to all future crafting events in War Thunder, barring some sort of huge change. Now please, if you enjoy this video, I come out with tons of guides and other content, so feel free to subscribe in order to support my channel. That said, let's get into it. So to start, let's go over what crafting events are. Essentially, they're ways for Gaijin to get people to play more by incentivizing them to earn unique and, at this point, top tier vehicles. They do this by giving you items to then use to craft into more items, which are then used into vehicles and more. I'll be going over more of that in just a moment. So that said, let's go over how to earn the most basic items, crafting materials. And before you can even do that, there are some real basic things for you to know. So you can look at your items up here. This is one of the ways to get to it. Typically there is an event toolbar right up here, or more easily, or just as easily, go down to your item inventory and then go to workshop and voila. And that should work again for most, if not all, crafting events. Additionally, I had a question a little bit earlier on one of my comments asking if in order to earn, for example, in this case, the early F4F for the Germans, if you need to play Germans, and that is not the case. You can play whatever vehicles you want so long as it is, if I'm not mistaken, Tier 3, so rank 3 or higher. You can play whatever vehicles you want in order to earn whatever vehicles you want, just so long as you meet the requirements I'll go over in just a moment. In order to earn crafting materials, you need to play at least 10 minutes of either air, ground, or naval in either arcade, realistic, or sim settings, and maintain at least a 50% activity rating throughout those matches. This means that you cannot just get into a match and go AFK. You will not earn crafting rewards that way. This also means that naval is a great way to get numerous boxes full of crafting materials per match, especially with blue water navies. This said, the 10-minute time blocks required to earn a crate of crafting materials, or occasionally fully made materials, will be carried between matches. This means that, for example, if you have 7 minutes of playing time and over 50% activity in your very first match of any crafting event, and again this guide should apply to every crafting event, that means that you will not gain a crate. But if your next match has over 13 minutes of gameplay at 50% plus activity, you will then earn 2 crates of crafting materials, being that you now have a cumulative time played of 20 minutes. You earn the crafting materials at the end of a match on the match end screen. As you can see here, it doesn't matter if you win or lose, you will still get it. You just need that 10 minutes of game time at 50% plus activity. Now, underneath the crate on this screen, you will see a workshop button that will then bring you to the workshop where your crates are stored, as well as the other crafting materials that you have earned and not yet consumed for this event. You can open your crates on this screen and see what materials you have earned. Some materials are more rare than others, so oftentimes you will have too many of one part and not enough of another. At this point, once you have opened your material crates, you can go to the assembly screen. So I'll just go to the workshop here. And as you can see, it has all the parts that I have, all the parts that I don't have. I can click on this, consume, and you get your parts right here, which are then made to build other things in the assembly screen here. But just for sake of redundancy, I guess you could say, I can open that up again. As you can see, I've got composite materials, which will then go into making other things as well. And so from this screen, what you're going to want to do is go to the assemble screen down here. So you can do that by clicking this button. And from here, you're going to pretty much have all of your parts. And this is exactly how you are going to move forward in the crafting event. So it's important to note that these top items are the ones that you will earn from actual crafting crates, whereas these bottom ones are the ones that you purchase from the marketplace. So it's a little bit weird, and I'll go over it in just a moment, but really these are the ones that you'll get from the crafting crate. So if you're not looking to do anything with the marketplace, you don't have to worry about these at all. But if you are looking to do something with the marketplace, I'll mention that in just a moment. And if this part of the video looks a little bit out of sequence with the part in just a few seconds, it's because I had to go back and edit out some incorrect information. So I for whatever reason accidentally said the wrong thing, so just so you know, I am looking out for you. But yeah, essentially these are going to be your craft crate parts. But what you'll use is you'll use this to then click on this. And because I have a part of scheme or an accumulator battery scheme, I guess if you'd want to say that, click on recipes, click on assembly line, and boom, 10 minutes. What happens is at the end of 10 minutes, as I have here, click finish, and you get an armored capsule, which you can then use to basically, you then need to build these things, which I have one part of composite materials and also none of these. So these are steel sheets. Basically, if you do not have these things, you will need to earn them via gameplay and whatever else the case may be. But a very, very important thing to note is that if you want, you can actually go to the marketplace. Now, the marketplace is a little bit funky in terms of recording, but I do have a marketplace video linked below in the description. Extremely important. Go check that out if you do not know how the marketplace works. It's primarily, if I'm not mistaken, for PC players, as at least currently Xbox and PS4 players do not have access to the marketplace. But basically, typically only for a few cents each, you can buy these crafting materials, which will then go into the creation of these, and which then helps you make all of these. So if I really wanted to, I could probably make this for around 30 cents right now, or 30 GJN, which is equivalent to around 40 cents USD. So it's not all too expensive to go into the marketplace and kind of purchase your way through this. In fact, actually, I purchased 2 of these via the marketplace a little bit earlier. So it's not a very, very expensive thing to do. But from there, what you're going to want to do, you're going to need this, and then you need basically however many of those, 26 rounds, which you will be able to get rounds through completing matches and possibly through through building them. But one thing just to note, again, this is just for this crafting event. Every crafting event is basically a variation of this. So if you're seeing, oh wow, my crafting event does not have these parts, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. They all follow the same blueprint. From there, you're going to want to create, in this case, an ammo rack. From there, you need 1 ammo rack to make a Minotaur tank. From there, you're going to need more or less kind of the various components. It all follows the same exact blueprint. Basically, you need smaller components to make larger components, and you need, basically smaller component here opens up the door to make a larger component here, and then you need these components to then make a larger component, and then you need probably more of those components to make a larger component even still. It just kind of keeps building and building. So just be aware, it can take quite a bit of time. Typically, these crafting events are upwards of around 2 weeks. So if you don't get the vehicle that you want immediately, don't worry. Typically as well, getting the easier vehicles, such as in this case, the Su-76D or the DD-184, the Japanese destroyer, they are pretty easy to get. All you need is this. But then if you want to go a little bit higher and get the XM8 or the F4F early, again, this is just for this crafting event. Every crafting event will have different rewards. You just kind of need to upgrade it and upgrade it, which again is just kind of done in the same combination. Just purchase more materials or earn more materials, and then just keep going through the motions with that. And don't worry, if you are on the marketplace, there will not be a shortage of materials. Tons of people just play this not to earn crafting things. They just do it so that they can get GJN, which they can use to earn or purchase other things on the marketplace. Many people are participating in this by selling you the items on the marketplace. So realistically speaking, it might not be all that expensive oftentimes to, in this case, get the XM8, and definitely not expensive to get something like the Su-76. Any uncommons and all that, typically fairly inexpensive. So just bear that in mind. And again, I do have that marketplace video linked below. Check it out. Now, 3 very important things to note that I did not mention before. 1, you can get these things called parts of Minotaur tank schemes, which basically means that you can create a Minotaur tank scheme quicker than you would otherwise. So if I'm not mistaken, you need 30 and then 50, depending on how quickly you want to do it. You do get these by being in first place in any given battle, whether it's arcade, realistic, and I believe sim for tanks. Additionally, you can get these occasionally, these rounds, out of these materials chests. They are fairly rare, but, you can certainly go ahead and occasionally again do that. Now, one other very, very important thing to note is that you can only get these either from the chest, again, rarely, and or by playing 30 minutes. So for every 3 of these, you get 1 of these essentially along with it, and you can only get these up to 13 times per day. And you need 26 of them in order to get a essentially an ammo rack. And fun enough, so I'll go into this right now and go right back. So again, my apologies if I'm jumping around so much in this video. So what you will need in order to progress here, to get these each, you need 3 of these, right? So you need, if you want to get to these, you need 3 Minotaur tanks, which means that you need essentially what, 78 of these, which is, and if you can only, let's just say if you're very unlucky and you only get rounds every 30 minutes, you need 78 of them. So that means that you have to play for what, 39 hours? 39 hours of gameplay over the next 2 weeks. So you're going to be playing a lot unless you get very lucky if you want to get these. So Gaijin has started to implement artificial breaks, so to speak, in terms of actually gaining these top tier vehicles. I'm not entirely sure why. Perhaps it will make it easier for them to get money from the marketplace because they do get a cut from it. But yeah, so you will need 3 Minotaurs in order to get these, and in order to get Minotaurs, you need to complete all of these, get this, and then move forward. It's not going to be easy. So something that's extremely important to recognize if you are looking to sell on the marketplace, in order to create one of these, wherever the case may be, you need 2 of these or 2 of these top components. Now, what do I mean by that? So in order to create something that's craftable or sellable on the marketplace, you need to use 2 components of any of these types that you earn from matches in order to put it on the marketplace. So that is a huge trade-off. So in order to sell just 1 high-tech component on the marketplace, you basically need to create or use 2 high-tech components that you get from crates in order to create this, which is tradable on the marketplace. However, if you do buy one of these from the marketplace, you know, again, it could be any one of these, you only need 1 to reconvert it back into something that's actually usable in your crafting. So bear that in mind. To sell on the marketplace is actually quite a bit more expensive, and I think Gaijin kind of did this just so that they could earn their cut a little bit more, make these a little bit tougher than they had been in the past. Interestingly, if you are willing to spend the extra part schemes on getting more detailed schematics, you can do a trade-off. So either you can wait a little bit longer, so in this case have a 10-minute assembly time, or in this case a 30-second assembly time, but with the 10-minute you will have fewer components that you need in order to construct it. Again, that is with a detailed schematic and also with the middle of the range schematic as well. They will have less parts that you need in order to create the same item, or it will be much, much quicker to create. So obviously I'm not going to be hurting for time here, so I'll just go ahead and do the 10 minutes. That would make much more sense for me at least. And you can go ahead and kind of go again through here, and as you do that, you get more and more items, you know, like receiving orders and whatnot. So just again, bear that in mind. By getting the more detailed schematics, by spending more part of schemes on them, you can actually have a choice whether or not you want a less expensive part or a much quicker to build part. Your choice. And finally, one last very important thing to note is that you can create Minotaur tanks a little bit quicker than you otherwise would with the addition of Minotaur tank schemes. And you can earn the parts of Minotaur tank schemes by appearing in first place in a match, whether it's arcade, realistic, or sim, at least in regards to tank battles. So if you want to speed it up to a 4-hour production time for the Minotaur tank, normally it takes 12 hours, and you do not need these in order to create the Minotaur tank. This is simply to speed up the production of it. You can use up 25 of these, so you need to come in first 25 times in order to create the Minotaur tank in 4 hours. And if you'd like, if you have 50 of these, you can create the Minotaur tank in 1 hour. So it's, you know, very difficult to do. These can be sold on the marketplace, so if you're in a crunch for time, or if you have just a ton of these laying around and you want to create them, you can either buy or sell them on the marketplace. And this can be fairly important, being that you need 3 Minotaur tanks in order to get either the XM8 or the F4F early. So it can be fairly important, especially if you're kind of in a crunch for time near the end of the event. But that being said, let me know what you guys think about this video. I know I jumped all over the place in it, and to be honest with you, this was not, at least for me, an easy video to make. I'm not really sure why I just jumped from one spot of the video to the next, and kind of the information wasn't in a clear chronological order. But I really do hope that I gave enough information that any other source that may have left out information, this kind of patched those gaps in. But that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please comment, subscribe, like the video. That really means the world to me. Either way, this is Tankenstein signing out for the night. Thanks again so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you all on the other side. Take care, everyone, and good luck in the crafting event.